Case, this 109-year-old Ford Model T was the car that for most Americans replaced the horse. So what have we done today?
Today we're going to find out if that was a good thing, because we've got our Model T from 1915 up against Zach and his horse. What do you think, Zach? Are you ready to go?
Oh, definitely.
Zach, how you feeling over there?
Good?
Yeah, walk me through your horse. How many horsepower?
Well, I think that somebody measured it and they said that like a draft horse has like 6 horsepower, but it's a lot of torque.
It's pretty good. Now we have 20 horsepower and some cool costumes.
Yeah, super cool. I look rad.
Case, you look like Amelia Earhart's dumb little brother, and I look like I'm going to try to sell someone some magic beans at a carnival.
Yeah, you really do. You've committed. I like it.
But here's what we're going to do. We are lined up at our quarter-mile strip here. The horse is lined up, ready to run. My monocle keeps falling out. There's a lot of stuff to remember in 1915 to
I know. It's hard to live in these days.
do a drag race. So what I'm going to do is go as fast as I possibly I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can as Model T. Zach's going to ride everything that horse has, and we're going to see who gets to the quarter mile first.
All right, should we tell Jen to start us?
Jen, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Full throttle. Oh, horse got the jump on us, Case.
Wow, look at the launch on the horse.
Full throttle.
Oh my God, we're getting dusted.
Case, I'm using all the spark advance I got.
I thought the automobile was supposed to be a technological advancement, not a step backward, Tommy.
We're absolutely losing the horse, but we're catching up, my friend.
What's going on?
Yeah, pal, get it.
Yeah, we're gaining. Oh my God, this is a good race.
That's about 25 miles an hour.
Wow.
Come on, everything is go.
Oh, it's gonna be good. We got him.
Come on.
Yeah, pal, get it.
The automobile, Tommy. What a piece of technology.
And across the quarter mile.
Well, that's good, because we are an automotive channel. I think people would be a little upset if we lost, but this is not our only race.
Dude, we got some other races to do.
I know.
So we just scientifically proved that in the quarter mile, the car is faster than the horse.
The car is magnificent. The automobile, they should make more of these.
We just ran a 36.58 in the quarter at 34 miles an hour.
That was a good race.
Zach, my friend.
That was pretty close.
I was pretty close.
The future just took us to Applebee's.
I will say, I am super impressed with Dakota right there. That was great work, dude.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He hasn't really been practicing his drag racing, but he did pretty good today.
Is that all he had, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the fact that I gallop him like almost never, and like my wife hardly, she probably does it more than me, but he got a little tired by like 2/3. And I was normally at home when we let him gallop, we're usually asking him to not go quite so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today is the first time maybe in a long time, if not ever, where I was like, no man, go faster.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, that was awesome. Well, let's do this. Let's go back, and we're gonna come up with some other challenges.
Sounds good. That was pretty close though.
Oh, man,
That was awesome.
All right, so how we do?
All right, so Zach, you got your GPS performance device. So
Okay.
we ran a 36 and change at 34 in the
Pretty
Ford
good.
Model T. Pretty good.
Yeah.
You ran a 39,
All right.
35 at 22.
Okay, trap speed's a little low. He was getting a little bit tired at about halfway.
But your 60 foot, really good. We're looking at a 4:17, so 4 seconds,
All right.
17 seconds. In terms of horses, is a Mustang considered a fast horse, a slow horse? Where do they lie?
I would say medium slow, generally. And like historically speaking, like horses that, so what did we do, a 39-second quarter mile?
Yep.
Like a fast racing quarter horse should be doing like low 20s.
Okay.
With trap speed like double ours.
Wow.
And they're trained for it, they're bred for it, they have that kind of performance. I'd say that, you know, ironically, the Mustang horse is kind of allegorical to the Mustang car in the horse world, where they're like pretty inexpensive, pretty versatile, but like they have good power, good handling, but not really like top in any stat. And if like back in the day, you know, when your car was new, those racing quarter horses were then too, and they were just as fast.
Right.
And that would have been like a challenger demon.
So here's the thing, Zach. If you look at the way the Model T replaced the horse in kind of that turn of the century, the 1915s, 1920s, yes, as we proved, it was quicker, but it also entailed quite a bit to get going, especially ours with the crank start, and there's a bunch of steps we need to do. So I thought it'd be cool. Let's do another race where we're kind of Le Mans style. We're gonna simulate what were to happen if you just learned you ran out of 1915 something cholera, and your wife is having her 19th kid, and you need to get to the church as fast as you can. So your horse here is completely unready to go. My car's not ready to go, and we're gonna see which one is quicker to get tuberculosis first.
All right.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
You ready? All right, let's see the cost blood for the next 3 years. In 3.
Oh,
you ready?
it's happening right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah.
Yeah, all right.
3, 2, 1, go. Case, there's a witchin' after us. We gotta get to the town.
What?
A witchin', a wiccan?
A Wiccan? Oh, yeah.
So the
I've had
first
a
thing
couple of those.
we have to do is fill his car up with gas, which you couldn't buy at a gas station. You had to go to like a convenience store or a hardware store or a drugstore.
No, but we'll just assume that we had some handy.
Sorry, dude, we don't usually do this so fast. All right, saddle. At least I think they're putting gas in there, so that's gonna help us a little bit.
I'm gonna run around and top us off with some water, Tommy.
Yeah,
Normally
for
you wouldn't
sure.
want to do this, open up the top of a radiator on a car that's just been quarter-mile racing, but this is a non-pressurized cooling system right here.
Uh-huh. Exactly. So now I'm gonna screw on the top on the fuel tank. Casey, the thing about Model T is there's about 125 different ways it can catch on fire.
Yeah, this, tell you what, we were not overflowing.
You can just go to the top of those brass tubes if you want.
Yeah, I'm not even near them, but that's okay.
This is gonna be a tangled mess.
First I lost my monocle, now I get gas in my eye.
Okay, let's see, we're on mag.
Okay, so we're on mag. We're gonna go spark advance down, throttle up, handbrake on.
Oh, they're getting close, pal.
All right, kids.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it, Case.
Come on. This is, by the way, not the safe way to start this car. Are you sure we're good to go?
Yeah, man.
We can get our McCarty in. Oh, we're close. We're close. Yeah, get it.
All right, there we go. Case is in. Door,
Oh, he's already
door
going.
closed. The horse is off.
That was not our best performance,
So is
I
the car.
gotta say.
In a
Come on,
second.
car.
Come on, that's 15 mile an hour right there, Case.
We're losing this. No way.
Dude, this is gonna be a photo finish. I'm going full spark advance.
Oh, we might have him this time.
No! We won!
Well, if we had kept our car topped up with water
Oh.
and fuel, then we would have been fine.
Unreal.
I'm breathing a little.
He won. He didn't even get gas in his eye.
Yeah,
Whew.
imagine.
We're making a pretty good case for the horse at this point.
Yeah,
Well, we got one more competition.
Yeah.
The handling course. So we've learned that the car's faster. The horse is faster to get going though.
it is, yeah. It's much quicker to get moving.
You definitely helped us out by having to put gas in.
Yeah, I was saying.
But I did feed him this morning, so that's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like in the real world the horse gets syphilis.
You're right. Congratulations. Go enjoy dying at 37.
What else we got?
All right, got one more race. This is gonna be the handling challenge.
Yeah.
So we're gonna set up our cones. We'll scoot them back a little bit.
Okay.
And we're gonna start running around the first cone, sprint into the second, running around the second, and then first person back wins the equivalent salary of the year, which is $3. Woo!
All right.
$3. This is
Pretty
for all
good.
the enchilada. So Zach, talk me a little bit about your history. How'd you get into this world?
Oh, geez. I mean, that's kind of a long story. Historically, I was a professional skateboarder.
Wow.
And I met my wife through skateboarding, and she got me into horses, and now I'm here.
Wow.
So I've been working with Mustangs. My first horse ever was a Mustang, and shortly thereafter, I got my first wild horse from Great Escape Mustangs.
Yeah.
And I've been going down that road ever since.
And was Dakota here, was he a wild horse originally?
Oh yeah, so he's from Colorado. He's from a herd management area called Sandwash Basin near Craig.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to look up photographs from that place, it's really close to some main roads. So there are a lot of photos. In fact, we have pictures of him when he was a couple days old.
Wow.
And he was wild until he was about 2.5, and he was rounded up, and we got him from the BLM at 3.
Unreal. So walk me through the process. I mean, Dakota, you were a wild horse, and now he's out here like with drones and old cars and weirdos and suits. Like, how are you able to get him to the state where you can ride him and make him so comfortable?
So, good question. I mean, a wild horse, when you bring them home, is a lot more like if you brought home an elk.
Okay.
Like, they are wild, they are terrified of everything that they don't understand, because that's just how they're programmed and how they've stayed alive a lot longer than we have. So you just start with spending time with them in a pen. I mean, people do it different ways, but we just start to get to where they can stand to be even within 100 feet of us, and then 50, and then 20, and maybe they can stand to be touched. And gradually we get to a place where we can have some communication. And if we do a good job as humans and we kind of apply everything we do with them consistently and are, you know, kind of aware and wise to the ways that they show us when they're worried and when they feel okay about something, we can just keep introducing, you know, more instructions and more communication, and start to introduce foreign objects and different places and bring them around different parts of where they live, and then eventually put them in horse trailers, and they become just like any other horse. Well, not just like any other horse. There's always something a little different about the ones who were raised wild.
Yeah, and walk me through kind of the care process for this horse. Like, what does a horse need? Where do they live? I mean, what do you do with the horse?
Right. So it's funny, is I'm thinking about your Model T deal, where obviously that requires a whole lot more doing to kind of operate it than a modern car. But in terms of maintenance, it's not crazy different. It needs oil, it needs tires, it needs bearings, you know. But you could take that home and put it in your garage and not see it until next spring, and maybe the battery would be dead. But oh wait, no, it doesn't have one.
Yeah. Well, your
battery wouldn't even be dead.
Yeah, sure. Your tire would be flat. Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I did horse care today. I will do horse care tomorrow. I'll do horse care the next day.
Wow.
Just like everyone did until the Model T came along. So he gets, you know, all of them, our horses anyway, eat hay constantly. We have hay available to them 24 hours a day. We like to have them with as much space as we can give them. You know, we don't have a ton of property, but he has enough room to move around. He lives with another horse, so he's got a buddy. They need to get their feet taken care of. Most Mustangs, through, you know, natural selection on the range, have really big, hard, sturdy feet. So for most people's uses like us, where we just kind of ride for pleasure, we don't need shoes on him. He just has big, hard, solid feet. So he doesn't need that, but he does have to have his feet trimmed every maybe 5-6 weeks, because in the wild, they walk so much that they wear them down naturally, these big hard feet, but they don't at home. So if we just let them grow, then they start to have problems.
We were talking off camera, and Zach is a really cool guy, because he's not only a horse enthusiast, but he's had some really cool and interesting cars, and he's a big car enthusiast. And you've driven a Model T, and it's very different than any other car. And it's kind of a steep learning curve, but it's got to be easier than riding a horse. I mean, how do you control a horse? What do you do to make a horse go forward and stop and steer?
Right. So, I mean, that's like even a loaded question, because the way that my wife and I educate horses and teach people how to ride horses is different than somebody across the street from us might be, because they kind of learn whatever we teach them. There's many different ways to teach a horse what it is that we're trying to convey. And absolutely, you know, I didn't drive a Model T very far, but it only took my friend showing me how and explaining it to me for an hour. And it would take, I don't know, maybe you're a really talented horseman, I don't know, but I think it would probably take me a lot longer to get to where you could ride a horse around accurately who is even very well educated, let alone, you know, getting a horse as a baby or one from the wild especially would almost be like I gave you like a kit car, but it wasn't even a kit. It was just like sheet metal, and maybe I gave you a welder. And I was like, all right, first make your car, then tell me how to drive it. You know, it's way more nuanced than, I mean, there's a reason why even a car that's like the Model T that is comparatively kind of cumbersome to operate, still so much easier than everything to do with owning, caring for, and operating a horse on a daily basis.
Gotcha. All right, so we got our horse versus Model T autocross.
Should I count us off?
Yeah, go for it, Case.
All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Now here's the thing, Case. Model Ts do not handle super well.
Yeah, what's up with the turning radius? He's already taken off in a straight line.
Not yet, buddy. We gotta go around the cone. Then we can get it.
The problem is, if I turn too fast,
our wheels will fly
a
apart.
wooden wheel could literally collapse. All right, full throttle. Come on, baby.
And my door keeps opening. My door!
Everything you got, Tin Lizzy. Come on!
The interesting thing is going to be slowing down.
Oh God,
too.
no brakes.
Good boy.
no brakes, into first. All right, I'm gonna,
4 bands in the transmission. Oh my God.
dude, I'm gonna power slide this one onto the throttle. Come on, baby.
Oh, this feels terrifying.
Handling
It feels horrible.
Oh God.
Almost went off the track.
Oh, it just absolutely demolished us.
Well, I gotta say, no knock on your driving, because that cornering and the exit was impeccably well performed, Tommy.
And across the line.
I wish I could say it was a victory whistle.
Nah, we gotta slow down before we hit the other cars.
Yeah. Definitely run into the Ford.
All right, dude, so let's see what we learned. Straight up, standing quarter mile.
Fast. The automobile really shows its technological achievements.
Horse-ready Model T needs to start. Horse creamed it.
Yeah,
Both
for sure.
turned off. Horse won again. And handling challenge.
It's not a fast cornering car, but if the straights are long enough, you can make up for it. Look, we shortened the course a little bit because we don't want anyone having a heat stroke today.
So, Zach, Case and I were doing some math here, and I think you've technically won 3 of the 4 challenges we put out for you today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super surprised. I think just based on the numbers coming in, it was, I was surprised that it was as close as it was on the first run. But
Yeah. So what do you think? You're going to ditch your Ford F-250 there and take Dakota back home, or are you gonna maybe use the truck to drive home? What do you think?
I think we'll probably stick to my internal combustion mechanized transport for daily driving at least.
Probably a good idea.
He agrees. He's like, absolutely. That sounds terrible. All right, Case, so we are very much no longer on a racetrack.
Yeah, we are way out east, kind of in the plains, and we are in horse country now.
That's right. So we are at a horse sanctuary about to track down some Mustangs. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Model T largely replaced the horse for much of America.
It did, and partly for good reason. Well, as we proved, the Model T is quick.
And it requires less food and arguably less water, although maybe not ours.
It might be vaguely safer, because horses are a little scary, I gotta be honest.
At one point in New York City, Case, there were 100,000 horses producing, get this, 2.5 million pounds of horse poop every day. And then, starting in the 20th century, the automobile came along and started replacing the horse.
Yeah.
But Case, let's talk about some misnomers about the Model T. Is this the first ever car?
No, it is not the first ever car. It is the first mass-produced car, so this really popularized the automobile, but it was not the invention of the automobile.
Absolutely. And when the Model T was revealed, it had a starting price of $850. So much like horses are today, cars were kind of a luxury hobby item for a lot of the rich. And then the Model T came around, and by the 1920s, Ford had reduced the price from $850 to under $300.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible. That's like the opposite of what the Nissan GTR's done over the years.
Exactly right. But what Ford did, which was so revolutionary, is he also upped the salary of his employees so that they could afford the product that they were building, which was incredibly smart. What we're doing here is we're actually out in the sanctuary looking for some untamed Mustangs.
Yeah, we're in our Ford trying to find a Mustang.
Kind of funny, huh?
Oh, it's not bad.
Now, I'm sure you're watching this video thinking, what the heck are you doing in that museum piece? It looks like you're destroying that car, but what you gotta remember, this is exactly what Henry Ford designed the Model T to do, to drive on unpaved, unplowed surfaces.
That's true. That's exactly what this car is designed to do. And look, we've done a lot of maintenance to this car, especially mechanically. We put new tires on it, a new head gasket. We had a guy go through the radiator. So we've done a lot of good stuff with this car, but our big thing with it is that we want to drive it. We want to use it because there's plenty of these in the museums, plenty of them that are parked and preserved. And this one, I think it's really cool to actually get it out and drive it. I think that's part of the reason that people have been enjoying some of the videos that we've done with this car.
Yeah, I mean, we are cruising down this rutted, untamed field right now.
Yeah.
And it is handling it beautifully. This car is something like 18, 20 inches of ground clearance.
Yeah.
And the tires, the wheels are really thin, and so are the tires, but the diameter is huge.
Yeah, there's what, 23-inch wheels, I want to say?
I do think so, yeah, 23s. So it is perfectly tailored for this kind of terrain. And even though it may look like we're kind of rattling around a lot from that main camera, the ride is super, super soft and supple.
Well, look, it's not quiet going down the road. It rattles, and the car does shake, but we're on a pretty comfortable seat. And look at us. I mean, our bodies aren't moving around that much.
No, we're doing absolutely fine here. And we are going everywhere that the diesel-powered four-wheel drive side-by-side in front of us. You want to show them, Case? That right there is a pretty serious piece of kit. That's a Kubota diesel 4x4 with off-road tires.
Yeah, they might be a little bit more comfortable than we are, but...
Yeah, but we are in a
But we look cool.
109-year-old car on non-skid tires. And they literally say non-skid. These are manufactured by Coker Tire. And the tread pattern is exactly like it was back in the day. It just says non-skid, non-skid, non-skid all the way down the tire.
Oh, and they're right. I don't see us skidding, Tommy.
Oh, we found them.
Will they like their successor, or will they be offended, the horses that we brought?
Wow, that's amazing. Look at
That's
that.
so cool.
Well, let's do this, Case. Let's talk to the folks that operate this facility we're on, and we'll get some more information about them.
The Mustangs are wild horses that originated as far back as like the Spaniards coming over, all that kind of thing. And when they didn't need the horses anymore, or say when the car came along, they got turned out and turned loose. Or if people fall on hard times, turned their horse loose.
What is a Mustang? Like, is that a classification of horse? Is it a breed? What does that mean?
We think it's breed,
Okay.
right?
Is there some
As an
discussion?
owner, we think it's its own. But in general, it's sort of the Heinz 57 of the horse world, right?
Okay.
If you think that they are basically genetically a mix of whatever got turned out.
Interesting.
So, you know, if you turned out a quarter horse and you turned out a draft horse or a paint, and they all breed together, you get kind of a hodgepodge. The Bureau of Land Management is mandated by the federal government to manage certain public lands around primarily the West, where wild horses still are wild. The problem is they reproduce. And the land can only support so many Mustangs.
So, Lori, how many wild horses are estimated to be in the United States?
So there are estimated to be about 70 to 75,000 wild horses that are still roaming public lands. And then there's about 65,000 that have been gathered off those public lands are in areas considered holding. So those are horses that are being readied for adoption.
Wow, okay. What does Great Escape Mustangs do to help with wild Mustangs?
So Great Escape's big goal is to get horses that are brought off range, get them trained and adopted into homes where they're then, you know, a pet, a domesticated horse, and are used
as a horse.
As a horse.
Interesting. And walk me through that process. I mean, is it as simple as like walking up to a wild horse and jumping on? Like, how does that work?
It's a process, right? And it depends on the person, the style, how it's approached. We now have a total of 30 horses that live here full time. They are managed like they're wild, so they're just allowed to kind of do their thing. We make sure they have water, and in the winter that they do get supplemented with some hay. And then these horses came from almost any of the herd management areas that are out there.
You can see some of our Spanish genetics, and so like the Spanish genetics are like the most ancient bloodlines of the Mustang. So when the Spaniards first came into the United States and up from the south. And then this Gria here with the brindle stripes next to her, the gray with the blonde and the black, that's some of the more ancient genetics of the Spanish bloodlines. But yeah, when you see those primitive leg markings on a horse, that's how you know that they have Spanish bloodline.
And is every wild horse a Mustang?
That's a hard question, because there's definitely horses that have been dropped off in the wild herd areas they're just like a quarter horse or a thoroughbred, or, you know, one of those more like domestic bloodlines. But then after they go and put their genetics into the wild herd, then I guess they do become, you know, a Mustang technically.
All right.
Thank you.
Of course.
There's only one door on a Model T.
Really?
Yeah. Do you ride your horses?
I do.
Is it a dangerous activity?
I tell my husband and my parents, of course it's not. But obviously there's an inherent danger in riding an animal that has a mind of its own.
I think your horses have better doors than the Model T, Lori.
I know, I might fall out of this.
So it can be fairly safe, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say I have never driven this car in such terrain, but we're going to see what happens.
We're going to see what happens. We're getting close. Look, they're watching us.
We'll see if the horse is indeed safer than a Model T. So how do you say a horse is comfort-wise in this car? Is it pretty similar? Our horse is comfortable?
Comfortable.
I might say my horse is a little more comfortable.
There you go.
I have a little more control.
The government rounds them up with contractors again, so they're either rounded up by helicopter into kind of like trap situations, or they do bait and trap, and then they take them into holding and process them. So that's how you'll see they get their neck brands, which I can bring you closer. The left side of their neck, I'll have a neck brand.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's like a government freeze brand, and it's actually like different arrows in different directions, and it's a number. So each horse has a number that they're given through the government, and that's how they track them.
They don't just use like numbers. They use arrows and lines.
I know, it's like very cool, like code, code.
Okay.
Then they're available to the public to be adopted. We have a close partnership with the New Mexico Forest Service, so we've been getting our horses recently out of holding there, and they help us like choose ones that are most willing to have a human partnership, because a lot of our programs involve kids. We gather horses from holding. We have an at-risk youth training program that we partner with another trainer. So that's one of our programs, and then we also have our trainer partners that will just move horses from untouched to at least halter, pickup feet, trailer loading, a manageable horse, and then some of the horses go under saddle too. One of the things that the government does is they process, when they process the Mustangs, is they castrate them so they become geldings. So that way they can't breed, because we definitely don't advocate for breeding Mustangs. There's already an overpopulation of them. So the mares get to stay mares. Technically they could be bred, but again, we don't advocate for that. And then the stallions are castrated and turned into geldings. So
these horses that we're looking at here, so I guess they're technically not wild, right? Because they're on your property.
They're technically not wild.
But do they live like how much work do you do to maintain a horse, these guys?
These guys, we try to intervene as little as possible and let them just live wild. If they're injured, we do what we can to help that injury. We do have a vet here in the area that is willing to come out and help us with them. And then for the most part, right, like your domesticated horse, you have a farrier come and trim their feet. With the wild horses in general, they walk so much on such a variety of ground that they actually just wear their feet down. And so they don't need to be trimmed like we think of our domestic horses needing to be trimmed.
Could someone come and theoretically adopt a horse through your organization?
Through Great Escapes, yes. Yeah. Not these,
okay.
But through Great Escapes, through their website, there are available horses for adoption. That people are welcome to look at. And
when you adopt a horse through Great Escape Mustangs, is it, I don't want to sound offensive to horse folks, but is it untamed, or has it been tamed a little bit and domesticated? What are they?
It has been tamed.
Okay.
When you get a horse through Great Escapes, it has been through one of their training partners. And they have various training partners here in Colorado and New Mexico who do put the time into the horse for it to be at least the basics, where the horse can be caught, can be haltered, can be touched, can have their feet picked up and trimmed, can have all those human interactions, potentially maybe not ridden yet, but is a horse that could be rideable.
Okay.
Is moving in that direction if you were someone that wanted to, say, finish the horse yourself, or they have horses that can be ridden and are ready.
Gotcha. So you have everything from a project horse to a ready to run horse.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
The thing with Mustangs is sometimes they do pick their person. They are sometimes like a one-person horse. And so say you adopt a horse from Great Escapes and you get it home and it's maybe a little standoffish. It doesn't mean there's something wrong. It just needs some time.
Wow.
It just needs some time to get to know you.
Unreal.
Yes.
Lori, if folks want to support your organization and support a really good cause, where can they go and what can they do?
To the website or to the Instagram or Facebook pages, and there are donate links there.
Great, and we'll link it below.
Of all the cool things that we've gotten to do with our Ford Model T, this has to be the most fun that we've had with the car because it truly shows how old this vehicle is. At 109 years old, this really is the car that helped replace the horse for our daily transportation. And we have to give a huge thanks to the folks that helped us make this possible because it is not easy to find a horse that is willing to drag race. That's all for this video, and stay tuned for even more Model T videos coming in the future.